Hi, my name is Melissa Giles, and this video is going to be about who are you and the seasons of life. So the question is, who are you? So I'm going to start reading from Ecclesiastes. It's a season of life, and really think about the seasons of life, and I'll explain it just a little bit. So for everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to plant what's been planted, right? This is Ecclesiastes, one of my favorite books. It's taught me a lot over the years. Chapter 1 through 1 and 2. I don't know why my voice is so shaky. So I want to talk about for every season there is a reason. Now I know that for every season there is a reason, just like the seasons of winter, spring, summer, and fall, right? For each one it has its ups and its downs, like rain, thunderstorms, hurricanes, tornadoes, winds, and all that kind of stuff, right? And some of them are very dangerous. Some of the seasons are very plentiful, if you will. So in this season where God is talking about for everything there is a season, right? That's us, for everything in our life and everything that we go through, there's a season. So when he's talking about a time to be born and a time to die is like we're dying to ourselves, right? We're dying to what has been planted in our minds, right? It's our conscious and our subconscious mind that are fighting together because our heart is saying something different. And with our heart saying something different, you have the heart of God. And you have been called for a reason. And so the time to die is to realize that your conscious mind and your subconscious mind are fighting, and it's because your heart is calling you. Your heart is calling you to do something different, which is why there's seasons. So a time to die means that we are no longer playing into the games that serve you. We're no longer feeding that ego of being a victim of circumstance. We're no longer being a victim of circumstance. We're starting to realize that we must, pluck up what's been planted. It says a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up what's been planted. And so we're working on our mindset in the way of we're no longer playing into the games that serve you. You're no longer a victim of circumstance because you have a calling on your life. And that calling is, when you have a calling on your life and you feel it in your heart, it's not very easy, if you will, to go with that calling because first of all, you don't really know what it is, right? So it's just a season. And then you really don't know where it's going to go. So you don't really know who you are, but however, you're becoming, you have that want, and that your heart is just like beating so hard that you want something different and you just don't know how to get there. So my friends, there comes a time in your life that the calling is so strong in your heart that there's no avoiding it. Like God is saying, okay, there's no avoiding what he's saying to you. So if you haven't gone through that one season, and it be whatever season that may be for you, you know, he's still calling you. So God is calling you. What is he calling you to do, and how did he foreknow you? Like, he foreknew you before you were even born. He knew what your name was going to be. He knew how many hairs on your head. He knew everything about you. Like, you were off floating or doing whatever, you know, but he knew you way before that you were born, because that's why you have a calling on your heart, right? So I'm going to talk about circumstances, right? I said earlier that we're no longer a victim to circumstance. And I'll just tell you a little bit, I'll just tell you, like, our circumstances, they don't define us anymore. The things that happen to you, the things that happen to me, the things that happen to pretty much everybody that is called, they no longer define who we are. Like, we are no longer, there comes a point in time in our life that we have to say, you know, I'm no longer going to be a victim of this circumstance. And it doesn't come easy. It doesn't just happen overnight. It's something that God walks you through. And it's great, you know. I don't have any words to really explain the feeling that it gives you when you begin to realize that you're no longer a victim of circumstance. So let me see. So God is calling you to do. How did he foreknow you? And it's obviously, it's all of the things that happen to you, the addictions, the behaviors, the addictions that sometimes sometimes you feel like they're stuck in stone, like it's something that you can't get rid of. You know, it's maybe it's like, you know, an alcohol problem or a drug problem or a sex problem or something that you don't feel like you can overcome, but you can. It's not stuck in stone. It's what we tell ourselves. It's what we say to ourselves that is going to make it stuck in stone. Okay, so it's the addictions, the behaviors that sometimes stuck in stone, and which they aren't. It's family, the way that our family treated us, our moms, our dads, molestation, drinking mother, tragedy after tragedy. It just seems like everything is getting worse. And oh yeah, I'm gonna read here. Sorry, excuse me. 8. So for those, this is, Romans 8. I hate saying sorry. Excuse me. For those who he foreknow, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his son, in order that he might be the firstborn among brothers, among many brothers. And I really, really like this verse, because what he's talking about is it's generational, right? So it's like the deep family secret, you know. It's something that happens over and over and over again. And, you know, he foreknew your ancestors too. And he was trying to tell them, like, hey, look, you know, the same way he's trying to tell you, you know, I have something better for your life. I have something different for you. And he's been trying for generation and after generation and after generation. And it's like, you know, like you don't feel like you're good enough, right? You don't feel, you know, like maybe that you're non-deserving of God's grace. And I struggled with that for a long time. And that's the only thing I'm going to say about myself. I struggled for a very, very long time and not feeling that I was deserving of God's grace. Like all of these things that he did, that I've done, you know, not only to myself, but to my family through my addictions and things like that. You know, I didn't think that I was deserving of God's grace. And that held me back for a very, very long time. However, that's part of learning who he is, right? And that's part of the understanding of who he is and what he wants for your life. And when you give into the how do I say, the process, when you give into the process, then things just start flowing, you know, they start flowing like they should, right? Okay, so all of this stuff, all of the bad things that have been going on after generation and generation and generation, and God's love for us is so strong, you guys. I cannot tell you how many times that I have been just like so down and so like down and out that, you know, he's just there, you know, and he's showing you. And when he loves us so much, and he loves everybody else too. There's a different kind of love that he has for those of us he called, right? There's a different kind of love that he has for the people that want to break those generational curses, because that's why that's why they were called. It's not easy, you know. However, if you do that, that's when you find your purpose. That's when you find who you are. You already know through the power of his word that you are called. And whether you see it or not, it's being displayed, whether it be like talking to somebody, you know, and God is talking through them to you. You know, I know that happens. I know that it happens. And that's how you find your purpose, is giving into the process and knowing that, you know, like for those who he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his son, in order that he might be the firstborn out of all of the generations. And then when you do that, he wants to, it's your destiny. Straight up, oh, I shouldn't say, well, straight up. It's your destiny. It's your destiny calling you. And he wants everything that he promised all of your generations and generations into those generations that didn't listen. He wants to give that to you. But most people give up. It gets too hard. You know, it's hard to change your way of thinking. It takes daily action and giving into the process and start to heal. You know, you have to start healing in order to do that. And in other videos, I'm going to teach you just how. So with that being said, you know, now is your time. Know who you are. Know that God's got you, and he's leading you and he's guiding you, and he wants you to break those generational curses. And he wants you to move forth and be that one brother out of all of the generations to find your purpose. And with that being said, I guess the question you should be asking yourself is, who am I? And what can I do in my life to not only be good for myself, but be good for God as well? So, yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.